Doubles and coffee. PNM and the race card again. PNM, they draw a bad card. PNM saying the audit into CPEP is an attack on blackness. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to analyze it because you have to analyze the asininity of PNM. So PNM's position is, first and foremost, that CPEP is for black people. How they reach that conclusion and what sort of metrics allow them to think that way. And if they reach that conclusion and they have been in charge for 10 years and spent $600 billion, and in their opinion, black people are in poverty, and CPEP, one of the programs for the most in need, the most vulnerable, those who just need a little money to feed their children, consists in the majority of black people, then that's an indictment on the PNM for having not created sustainable jobs, upward mobility for the most vulnerable, in their opinion, black people. So I'm not sure how the PNM intends to move different arguments across the board. They seem to be grabbing at straws. That's why they can't even fill City Hall. Why is a PNM convention in a government building anyway? But you're a tiny little building because nobody cares about PNM. Because it's nonsense like this abject total. Let's take it further. So if CPEP is black people, then PNM are the plantation owners and the slave masters. Because everybody saw during election, after election, especially this last one, that CPEP workers were forced to sign a book, to get on a maxi, to go to a PNM meeting, whether early, late, or in between, under threat of not getting the little pittance from the PNM. That is akin to slavery, to pressure poor people to do something. When UNC had crowds, UNC crowds came of their own volition. People were inspired to hear Kamla Prasad Bisesa talk. They were inspired to feel the vibe and the music and hear the policies of the UNC. The UNC did not have to force people to come and listen. So the UNC is in government now. The UNC will never force people, tell them in order to get a work you have to come and listen to we talk. Think about how low character that is. Think about how disgusting that is. That you have to force people to listen to you. You can't inspire people. Look at the man behind me. You think he ever forced anybody to listen to a song? He just inspired millions and billions of people, and up to now he dead since 1981, and people still voluntarily want to listen to his music because it is brilliant, it is heartfelt, it is passionate, it is intelligent, it is meaningful. There are messages in the music, plus the rhythm and vibe just nice. That is the UNC in politics. The policies of Kamla Prasad Bisesa are people-centered. They are inspirational. They give us hope that our country could unite and move forward. The PNM come back with this bad card about blackness and race. Well, if CPEP was blackness, as you say, PNM, then you are the slave master. You are wicked to leave people on CPEP. Force them to do your bidding. Force them and herd them into maxis and buses to listen to you. And let me tell you, all these speeches, including Stuart Young, who already tried to foist on us as Prime Minister, the most uninspiring speakers in the history of politics. But let us go even further. CPEP, let's get down to the raw facts now. Why would the PNM sign 360 contracts on the eve of an election, just like at HDC, on an internship program recommended by people in the ministers and MPs of the PNM? 2,300 workers were hired at HDC just through PNM office, and then these PNM, when they lost the election, you see people protesting and so on. They didn't even want to pay the poor people, where they found them, what work they were doing, how they hired them, what was the process, where they got the money from. All of these things will go to the Attorney General for investigation. But that is PNM wickedness, to treat people like that. That is politics of old time. That is colonial politics. That is politics of bullying. The United National Congress is about the politics of inspiration, love, care, policy, people first. The voice of the people is the voice of God, yes. Because God made people. God is in people. The goodness of God is in all of our people, and democracy. That's what it's about. Well, let me just talk about a little CPEP too. Because other than the contractors being selected by PNM, and who get 2 and 3, and who get 2 gangs, 3 gangs, and how much millions they make, and who husband, and who father, and who sister, and who family in the PNM, that will all come out. You see it coming out already. But further than that, let me just show you. If CPEP is an environmental enhancement program to take care of the environment, to take care of land, to cut bush, to cut grass, and so on, don't you think constituencies in Trinidad with larger landmass areas would have more CPEP crews, more CPEP teams, more CPEP contracts? Don't you think so? For example, when I was the MP for Dabadi O'Meara, that's a small area. In 28 days of election, I walked that 5 times, every nook and cranny, every street. Do you think I could do that in Kamuto Manzanilla, in Mayaro, in Naparima, in Oropuch East, Oropuch West, those vast communities like Princestown, Couva South, those huge communities with large areas of landmass, those rural communities? Do you think I could do that? No. Because plenty environment to see about. So wouldn't you think that those constituencies with huge landmass, if the CPEP program was properly run and fair and equitable like the Constitution says, that those would have the most contracts, the most teams to take care of the environment, because the environment was simply bigger? Well, let's see. Let's see some of the biggest constituencies and how many contracts and contractors were there. Kumuto Manzanilla, 12. Couva North, huge, 15. Naparima, huge area, plenty river, plenty drain, plenty bush, 9. Faizabad, 12. Mayaro, I don't know how big that constituency is, 12. Siparia, 12. Tabakit, or they drive to Tabakit now and see bush, see river, see stream, see area, see grass area, see how much environment it have to take care of. 12. Princestown, 15. Oropuch West, 12. So averaging about 12 contracts for vast areas to take care of Trinidad, right? Let's see something else now. Now you all also notice all of those areas happen to be UNC strongholds. Well, let's go to some PNM strongholds, but not vast areas, smaller, compact areas. Aruka Maloney, 39 versus 12 in Kamuto Manzanilla. Sando East, 30 versus 12 and 9 in Naparima. Lauketa Talparo, 45. Port of Spain South, 30. Laventille West, 30, as opposed to an average of 12 in UNC areas. Diego Martin Northeast, 33. Diego Martin West, 29. Arima, 33. Is it a blackness thing or is it a PNM thing? Which one all you feel it is? Which one the statistics showing that this thing was a vile political game perpetrated on the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and then on their own people? The PNM is wicked, their own membership. They forced them onto Maxis to listen to Stuart Smallpin, Young Talk, that blithering idiot. The more he spoke, the more you lost brain cells. But here the next trick now. Let's go to marginal constituencies. Constituencies that the PNM would have tried to win. They try to gerrymander. They try to pump resources and pave roads and do things to get vote in order to stay in power, to recuse themselves and get the money to their friends and financiers and families. Let's see some of these marginals. How many CPEP contracts? Now remember, just to remind you, those vast areas, Naparima 9, Orapuch East and West 12, Princestown 15, Sangre Grande. PNM wanted Sangre Grande. They wanted that to stay in power so that Faris Al-Rawi could recuse himself 100 times. Stuart Smallpin Young annexed 100 times. That ministers could rent out their buildings and contracts to go left, right, and center. 51 in Grande, 51. Maruga Tableland, they wanted to beat Michelle Benjamin bad. They had vans running around with money, handing out, buying votes, all kind of thing. Food card, handing out CPEP contract, all kind of thing. 42. Sando West, where Faris Al-Rawi get licks from teacher Daulat. Sando West 46. St. Joseph, where the Convergia lost to Devish 39. Tunapuna 36. All of this shows a program that was infiltrated with PNM corruption, PNM nepotism, PNM nonsense, PNM stupidity. An audit will be done. Value for money will return. And the UNC will ensure that our citizens, whoever you may support politically, will have an opportunity to get sustainable jobs, to earn a living so that you could really live, rather than being abused by those in power who force you to tell them you love them because they take good care of you. Nonsense. The days of slavery, oppression, and vindictiveness of the PNM are over. Move forward with the United National Congress. And PNM, when you draw a race card, you draw bad card. Bless.